A Kraft Single may be the strangest slice in your refrigerator. It bends without breaking. It melts without turning oily. It comes wrapped in plastic like a tiny orange document. For most people, that is enough. Put it on a burger, close the bun, move on. But the weirdest part is not how it melts. It is what the package is allowed to call it. This slice starts with real cheddar, but by the time the factory is done with it, the label says pasteurized prepared cheese product. That was not an accident. Kraft changed the formula. The FDA made them change the name. So what happens inside the factory that turns real cheese into cheese product? And how do you spot the difference in 10 seconds? A young Canadian showed up in Chicago in 1903 with $65 and a horse. James L. Kraft sold cheese door to door from a cart. His problem was brutal. Natural cheese spoils fast. In summer, it melted into the cart. In winter, it hardened into a brick. Customers returned it. Kraft spent a decade trying to fix one thing: how to make cheese last. In 1916, he got his answer: a patent for melting natural cheese with emulsifying salts, then sealing it in tin cans. The cheese stopped spoiling, stopped melting, stopped hardening. Perfectly uniform every time. The government bought 5 million pounds and shipped it across the Atlantic to feed soldiers in World War I. By 1930, Kraft controlled 40% of all cheese sold in America. But the processed cheese block was still a block. James's brother Norman spent 15 years trying to turn it into slices. His grandson finally cracked it: a chill roll system that passed molten cheese over cold metal rollers, forming a sheet 60 inches wide, then cut it into individual slices. In 1947, Kraft test-marketed the slices in Detroit. Sales were nearly zero. Customers thought they were looking at a solid block. They could not tell the slices were pre-cut. A salesman threw a package on the floor, stomped on it, opened it. The slices separated perfectly. In 1950, the product launched nationwide. Cheese sales jumped 150%, but the slices you buy today are not made that way. They never existed as a block. They never touched a blade. Here's the thing nobody tells you. It starts with natural cheddar, the same kind with 4 ingredients you would find on a grocery shelf. Multiple blocks with different ages and flavor profiles are ground and blended together. At this point, it is still cheese. Then the formula changes. Water goes in, whey goes in, milk protein concentrate goes in, and emulsifying salts, sodium citrate, and sodium phosphate. This is the step that changes everything. In natural cheddar, the protein casein forms a tangled network that holds fat and water in place the way cheese naturally behaves. The fat can separate, the texture can crumble, the surface can sweat oil when it gets warm. That is what cheese does. Emulsifying salts break that casein network apart and rebuild it into something new. A smooth, continuous gel where fat droplets are evenly distributed and locked in place. From this point forward, fat and water can no longer separate. That is why a Kraft Single melts into a smooth, uniform layer on your burger instead of breaking apart and releasing oil the way a slice of cheddar would. The mixture is heated to 70 to 85 degrees Celsius under continuous stirring. The FDA requires a minimum of 66 degrees for 30 seconds, the pasteurization threshold. The hot cheese mass becomes perfectly homogeneous. No air bubbles, no grains, no lumps. But it also no longer has the natural protein structure of cheese. Now comes the part that makes the product possible. Molten cheese at 170 degrees Fahrenheit is pumped directly into tubes of polypropylene film, 20 micrometers thick, thinner than a human hair. No molds, no blades. The liquid cheese flows into the plastic tubing while compression belts flatten each tube, pushing cheese away from the heat seal zone between slices. The result is a continuous ribbon of individually sealed slices. Cheese that was never solid, never cut, never touched by a human hand. The ribbon passes through a chilled water bath 8 meters long. Temperature drops from 170 to below 40 degrees in under a minute. The cheese sets inside its packaging. A cutting machine separates each slice. Speed: 2,200 slices per minute. 2 lanes running side by side. Every single slice weighs exactly 21 grams. 4 ingredients went in. 15 came out. And what rolls off the line no longer qualifies for the FDA designation it carried for decades. In 1985, Kraft launched a campaign you might remember. Every Kraft single contains 5 ounces of milk. It ran on television. It was printed on every package. 5 ounces of milk in every slice. The Federal Trade Commission investigated. What they found was simple. Roughly 30% of calcium was lost during processing. Each slice actually contained the calcium equivalent of about 3.5 ounces of milk, not 5. Kraft also implied singles had more calcium than imitation cheese. That was also wrong. Most imitation slices had comparable levels. The FTC issued a cease and desist order in 1992. Kraft appealed. Kraft lost. But that was not the last time the label got Kraft into trouble. Here is where the story flips. In the mid-1990s, Kraft quietly swapped a portion of the milk in the formula for milk protein concentrate, a protein powder much cheaper than fresh milk. The problem was that MPC was not on the FDA's list of permitted ingredients for products labeled pasteurized processed cheese food. In December 2002, the FDA sent a warning letter. 2 options: remove the MPC or remove the name. Kraft kept the cheaper powder and changed the label to pasteurized prepared cheese product, a designation with no minimum cheese percentage. No fixed composition limits. Kraft kept the ingredient that saved money and gave up the name that meant something. But you do not need the FDA to figure out what you are buying. 10 seconds. 1 line on the label. Next time you pick up a cheese product, flip the package. Do not look at the ingredients yet. Read the product description. The line directly below the brand name. That line tells you everything. Pasteurized process. Cheese. The highest standard, at least 51% real cheese. Maximum 40% moisture. FDA regulates what goes in. Pasteurized process cheese food. Allows added dairy like milk and whey. Still governed by a specific FDA standard. Pasteurized prepared cheese product. No standard of identity. No minimum cheese percentage. Kraft Singles carry the 3rd designation. Now look at the price. Cheddar runs $4 to $5 per pound. 4 ingredients. Kraft Singles run $5 to $6 per pound, 15 ingredients. You may be paying more for a product that no longer meets the same FDA standard as the cheese right next to it. Here is the one rule. If the label says cheese without the word product, regulated identity. If product follows cheese, that standard is gone. Next time you are in the cheese aisle, 2 products, one says cheese, one says cheese product. Flip them over. 10 seconds. That is all it takes. That is the process. We reveal how things actually work, one story at a time. If there is something you would like us to explore next, let us know. Until then, trust the process.